He was one of Pep Guardiola's students, 2022 and 2023, and then Leicester came calling. Within his first attempt, he got Leicester back into the Premier League by getting them promoted via championship performance over the course of a 46-game season. And then after that, Chelsea came calling, and within his first season, he got them into Champions League football, won 2 trophies, Conference League, as well as the Club World Cup, dismantling the best team in the world by far in PSG, who dominated football this year, went on to win the Sixtuple, becoming only the third side ever in football history to win 6 trophies in a calendar year. And now there's rumours going around that he could be returning back to Manchester City, but this time not as an assistant manager, but as a replacement for the legendary Pep Guardiola. Enzo Maresca is high on Manchester City's list on the radar. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so I can delve into this Enzo Maresca Manchester City rumours. And it's coming at a time where his emotions getting the best out of him in terms of his frustrations at Chelsea, because the comments that he made before and I think after the Everton game speaks volumes. So without any further ado, let's delve into this situation. So as you can see, Chelsea boss Enzo Maresca is higher on Manchester City's list of replacements for Pep Guardiola. As obviously, Guardiola inked an extension to his deal in November last year, which aims to keep him at the club until 2027. Coolman time with suggestions that the manager may leave the citizens at the close of the 2024-25 season. As per The Athletic, Pep Guardiola could instead come at the end of the current campaign with a looming question mark of the decision set to be made closer to the end of the season. Last hurrah, last dance to Pep Guardiola maybe? I don't want to see that, but I need Pep Guardiola out of this league. So anything needs necessary to get him out of this league, the better. And obviously, Maresca worked under Guardiola between 2022 and 2023 after previously serving as the manager for Manchester City's under 23 side, who actually done very well. Obviously, Chelsea, won 2 trophies and stuff like that. Chelsea declined to comment. He's contracted until 2030, including the option for an additional year. Maresca heaped doubts on this position. The Chelsea dug after making cryptic comments in the wake of the Blues' 2-0 win against Everton on Saturday afternoon. He described himself as having experienced the worst 48 hours of his tenure in the build-up to the Stamford Bridge clash, which saw the side win their first match in 5 since the thrashing of Barca at the end of November. Listen, like I said, but he also stressed that he's absolutely happy at the club. He's looked to draw a definitive line under his comments. So that's obviously Enzo Maresca's situation, stuff like that. But I want to give my takes, because obviously I'm not a Chelsea fan, so Chelsea fans will know more than me about the situation. From what I can see, it feels like Enzo Maresca is getting let down by the board, isn't it? He's definitely frustrated. He wanted a centre-back over the summer because of the injury to Colwell, get well soon. He never got one. And despite spending... they spent a good amount under Enzo Maresca. You can look into them signings and think to yourself, are they Enzo Maresca signings? Now, as a manager, you still have to get the best out of the players you have in your disposal, but you can't help but think, does he actually have full say in terms of transfers, contracts, stuff like that? Because he's more of a head coach in it nowadays. Obviously, head coach doesn't really, they focus on the pitch, whilst the managers, they can actually work with stuff off the pitch, you understand? But given that Chelsea fans, majority of the Chelsea fans I speak to, they don't really rate the sporting directors at their club. It's very obvious that they're going to side with Enzo Maresca on this one. And the chance after the game against Cardiff, which got Chelsea into the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, it speaks volumes about the situation. Now, given Manchester City's structure the way they are as a club, both on the pitch, obviously the 115 charges still loom over their heads. But in terms of how they run their club, the academy as well, also the way they do that. Obviously, recruitment over the last couple of years has been very questionable, but throughout the time, since 2008, Manchester City have actually been, in terms, obviously some dodgy moments, but on the pitch, they've been cooking, as well as off the pitch. Obviously, 115 charges and stuff like that, but in terms of recruitment, the academy and stuff like that, they really do trust the manager that they have in their club, you understand? And given that Enzo Maresca has worked under Manchester City before, that he knows what the club's about, he knows what it takes to... I know he's an assistant manager, but he knows what it takes to, be in the dugout for Manchester City in terms of tactics, as well as the players. Some of the players that is in the Manchester City squad right now, he's actually worked with them in the treble-winning season. So if you take all of that into account, I think he will be suited for Manchester City. It will be a smart appointment for Manchester City to appoint Enzo Maresca after Pep Guardiola. And given this, obviously the Chelsea squad here, this is not that great. It's not that great. And Enzo Maresca managed to win 2 trophies with that Chelsea side. So he's kind of turned water into wine. You understand? He's turned water into wine. And obviously Enzo Maresca has has his spells where things are not going well and stuff like that. He does look dodgy under the light. But at the same time, though, he has shown, especially in the big games, that he can compete very well. He can adapt his tactics. He can get the best out of his players. And attacking wise, Chelsea, since he's come in, they've actually higher up in terms of attacking numbers in the league. And that's with Chelsea attackers that most people don't rate, apart from Cole Palmer. So imagine now you put Maresca in a side that has the likes of Haaland, Shirky, Foden, Doku, stuff like that. Logically, you'll think he'll cook with that attack. You understand? And yeah, I feel like Enzo Maresca will be a very, very good appointment for Manchester City. Now, I genuinely do believe Manchester City's going to go for Vincent Kompany, but it's not a wild take to say that Maresca would be a bad appointment for Manchester City, because he actually wouldn't be. He would actually be a smart appointment. And let's be honest, I have a funny feeling if Manchester City was serious about getting Maresca and they came calling, I think Maresca actually jumps. I don't think he stays, because Maresca shows that he's clearly unhappy at Chelsea. The sporting director's him. There's some sort of disagreement going along. Again, I don't know too much about it. I'm just going off what I'm reading from reports. But Chelsea fans knows more than me. But I feel like Maresca's kind of getting shaped. He's kind of getting shaped at Chelsea, you understand? And Chelsea, this is going to show how much they want to keep Enzo Maresca. Because if Chelsea are smart, they'll keep Enzo Maresca and see him as the guy that can take Chelsea back to where they want to be, which is winning titles, competing in the Champions League. They're also they're competing in cups. Like, that's always been a Chelsea thing since 2004. Even before 2004, they was competing for cups. But at the same time, though, I feel like with Maresca, they can go somewhere with him as the manager, you understand? And let's be honest, Manchester City take him, Enzo Maresca, from Chelsea, even though he's actually worked at Manchester City before. It's kind of an L on Chelsea's part. It's a massive L. Now, Chelsea, obviously, Maresca is tied until 2030. Compensation will have to be paid to allow him. But Manchester City, let's be honest, they'll pay that 100%. If they really want a manager, they'll actually pay the compensation fee to get him out of Chelsea and bring him into the Manchester City dugout. So it's one of them ones where Chelsea, like, it's mad, because the reactions I've been seeing in terms of Chelsea fans, it's like, before, I know for a fact there was I'll say minority of Chelsea fans, yeah, that was a bit unsure about Maresca and stuff like that. Now, the fact that Manchester City think that he's one of the candidates that will be good enough to manage Manchester City after Pep Guardiola leaves, they're changing their tune on Maresca. What a surprise. They're changing their tune. I'm telling you from now, Maresca is a very, very good coach. He's a very good coach, you understand? And obviously, I feel like with the players that Manchester City has right now, he can definitely go and do a thing there, in my opinion. Now, let's say he does become Manchester City's manager, I don't expect him to dominate the way Pep Guardiola did, because that was an anomaly what Pep Guardiola has done for Manchester City. It's an anomaly. You'll never see that level of domination ever again in terms of domestic treble, 4P, 100 points, breaking records, points total. You're not going to see that again. You understand? But I do see Manchester City picking up a couple of points under Enzo Maresca. You understand? So, and plus, it's the lack of top quality managers in the world right now. It is way more easier to stand out now as the it manager, than back in the day. Like, let's say a good 5-10 years ago. You get me? So I feel like with the Chelsea thing, they definitely need to stick with Maresca. They need to trust him. They need to give him whatever he needs, because he could get a tune out of this Chelsea team. He's winning trophies. Now, Chelsea needs to compete for the league. They need to compete for the league 100%. But I think Maresca is the man to take Chelsea into competing for the league and potentially win it. Like, obviously, this season showed me that Maresca, he added something that I didn't think he had, which is tactical flexibility and man management, being able to approach games not only by doing what Chelsea's good at, but also stopping the opposition from doing what they're doing. And nowadays, you need that in terms of tactics. There's different systems, there's different ways of playing, you understand, different style of plays and whatnot. So I feel like Maresca will definitely be a smart point for Manchester City. Chelsea needs to keep holding him. 100% needs to keep holding him. Let's be real. And let me look at his record, Maresca, in terms of being Chelsea's manager. Because I've got it up on my phone. So he's managed 89 games in all competitions so far in Chelsea's career. 55 wins, 14 draws. Let me see. Yeah, you guys can see it there. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, I don't think you guys can see. Yeah, 89 games, 55 wins, 14 draws, 20 defeats, with a 61.8% win rate with 2 trophies. He's doing a very good job given what he's been given the resources that he's dealing with. You understand? And like I said, man, it'll be a smart appointment. Smart appointment. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comments about the Maresca to Manchester City speculation. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think he's a good manager? Do you think Chelsea should do whatever it takes to keep hold of him? Yeah, man. In my opinion, there's a no-brainer. Chelsea fans, you must pray that Maresca stays at your club. As for Manchester City, it'll be a very good appointment. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Close to 300 subscribers. Make sure we run out the subscribe button. And until then, I am out. Peace.